am somewhat confident that this one's gonna work. Okay, we're trying again. Jeanice is gonna be on talking about pelvic health, specifically prolapse. So fingers crossed that this works. If this does not work, then I seriously give up for the day with this, but we are gonna try one last time. So, oh, there she is. Okay. Let's see if I can click on her. Go live. We've done it. I say that and nothing's happening. What?
Okay, we're here. Woo!
Technology.
Hello. I'm excited.
Yeah, we did it. Look at us. We figured this out.
Yes. All right, cool. Really
Okay.
excited to be here.
So, introduce yourself, please. I was telling on like the first lives that I attempted to do a little bit about how long we've known each other. I mean, I think since pretty close to when I started Get Mom
Yeah,
Strong.
it was several years before COVID. Like that's kind of my metric now. Was it before COVID, during COVID, after COVID? So
Yeah.
it was easily like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
So several years before COVID. And I've loved what you've been doing to increase awareness for movement and pelvic floor health and women's health. So keep doing wonderful things. I'm Jeanice Mitchell. I'm a pelvic health physical therapist. I also have prolapse. And I've had it for 25 plus years now. And I chose to manage it non-surgically. And you can even live with prolapse non-surgically and have a wonderful life. So I've been to like 40 plus countries and I do things and I'm active and I'm hiking and it doesn't have to slow you down. So let's just put that out there.
That's such an important message. I was saying before that I really do feel like prolapse feels like this literal weight and this figurative weight on you. And, you know, one of the beautiful things about your profession as a pelvic floor physical therapist is helping women live with less symptoms. And it's such an important job.
Yeah.
Today, I want to talk specifically about perimenopause. So a lot of us know, like, okay, postpartum, yeah, it makes sense. We just carried this heavy pregnancy and then we push this baby out. Like, yeah, I mean, the odds are pretty good that we're going to have some degree of prolapse. But can we talk about how perimenopause and menopause affects the pelvic floor?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few different factors happening. So let's first hormones. So hormones play a huge role in your pelvic floor health. So they help with your pelvic floor muscles, the elasticity and the strength and the resilience of your pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor, you know, I have props, Ashley.
Oh, she has props.
Your pelvic floor is kind of like a trampoline. So as there's pressure pressing down, because that's life, right? You cough, you sneeze, you move, you stand, you talk, jump, whatever you're doing, everything is pressing down on that pelvic floor. So it needs to give and rebound back up. Give and rebound back up. So hormones are impacting that resilience of the pelvic floor. Then we also have just life and age and fascia. So if you think about our fascia in other areas of our body, like it changes. We live on a planet with gravity. And so why do we have any other expectation that, you know, gravity won't, that our pelvic floor and our vagina are exempt from gravity? They're not. We live on a planet with gravity. So there's some connective tissue changes that happen as well. And then there's something that we're calling the buffer zone. And so if you can imagine somebody that is driving, okay, so they have a tank of gas and it's going to reach a certain level of empty, right? So if it's empty, let's say they're leaking, they have prolapse at that point. So let's say that their errands for the day around town, they have enough gas for that, but they then decide, hey, I need to drive 3 or 4 hours away, and they don't have enough gas, they don't have enough buffer zone, they don't have enough fuel in their tank, they don't have enough pelvic floor reserve to do that extra thing. And so all these things that are hitting the pelvic floor, if you have a better buffer zone, then you're going to be able to withstand those changes better with less symptoms as well. So that's kind of an emerging theory in terms of prevention. So I don't want people to think when they're watching this, like, oh, I don't have prolapse, so I don't need to watch this. You can help prevent prolapse in the future, potentially by doing good things. And then B, you actually might have prolapse and you just don't know it, because like 1 out of every 2 women, that have delivered vaginally will have some kind of prolapse. I have just staggering numbers. I wrote a couple statistics down here. In 2019, there were 13 million new cases of prolapse that year. So like it's staggering, and it's increasing with time.
And that's people reporting it.
Right.
Again, there's a huge population of women who don't even know that they have it, because maybe they have a low grade of prolapse.
Right. Or they have symptoms either that they're too embarrassed to talk about, or that they don't even think like making any kind of connection to tell somebody about it.
Okay.
One other piece with the menopause piece is that ages 50 to 54 is one of the peak times for people to report menopause, like new onset of symptoms. So we're kind of thinking they may have had issues and injuries earlier, and they had enough pelvic floor reserve or that buffer zone to get them through their 30s and 40s. And then they hit their late 40s and 50s, and it's like, bam.
Yeah. So that's what I want to talk about. What's specifically happening hormonally that's affecting the pelvic floor? I know the answer, but I want you to tell them.
So estrogen and progesterone. So you have the reduction in those hormones, and your pelvic floor and your vagina and your urethra. Let's just pull some of this out for people that may not be super familiar with the anatomy. So here's pubic bone in the front, and then that's the anus, that's the vaginal opening, and then your urethra is where pee comes out. You have little receptors here too that are very sensitive to estrogen. So estrogen and progesterone are the 2 big hormones that are being dramatically affected. And what we'll see when we're looking like at a vulva that has an estrogen, lack of estrogen, the tissue actually looks kind of atrophied. We call it vaginal atrophy, where another model where the labia on do not disturb, where the labia might be nice and pink and juicy and fluffy, they're thinner, they're less colored, they are like more of a paler color, they're just not as robust. And so this is a nice, healthy, pink, juicy vulva. We love this. And the hormones help this. Okay, so you add anything else there?
No, that's great. Is there anything we can do on the hormonal side that can help that pelvic floor kind of prevent it from atrophying as bad?
Right. Well, so from a hormonal side, like local vaginal estrogen is showing that it's safe for virtually everyone. I don't know of a person that it's not safe for. Always, this is a medication that's prescribed, so you need to work with your healthcare provider. This isn't medical advice, but this is a cream. This might be a tablet that you insert. It might be a pill that you insert, but this is something that is going to this tissue directly. It's not something you're ingesting, and it's not a patch. There are also systemic hormones. The sad part actually is that there really isn't research showing that hormones impact prolapse specifically. It may help with some of the symptoms. It may help with the vaginal dryness and some of the other things that may go along with prolapse, but it doesn't necessarily reverse prolapse.
Okay. What can we be doing on the physical side of things to be proactive?
Yeah. So a few things I would say in terms of how you move. So building your pelvic floor strength, coordination, resilience, flexibility. And doing that with a routine and an exercise program that you enjoy. So basically anything can be a pelvic floor exercise. So incorporating your pelvic floor into your exercise, I think that's a really, really good thing. And that is something that's sustainable long term. And it's interesting because sitting there doing Kegels, A, isn't that effective for most people, and then B, it's not even fun.
Right.
You know, so there's that. Breathing. So I really like for people to exhale when they lift. So let's say they're going to go lift something. Exhale and activate using your core. Your diaphragm is your primary breathing muscle, and so that is a really good way to coordinate your pelvic floor, your deep abdominals, and your diaphragm by exhaling as you're loading that pelvic floor.
Right. So a lot of times I think the natural instinct for people, especially when it's a heavy load, is to hold their breath. Right. So you're going to pick up that heavy bag of dog food and you're like, and you put all that pressure down, and those tissues are already not really vibing, you know?
Right. Yeah. I have another little prop here. So here's another pelvic floor, and you have the bladder, the uterus, and the rectum, and all these organs are sitting. The pelvic floor is about to let go. We're gonna have a water balloon accident. So yeah, she let go. The pelvic floor is gone on this one.
It's gone. That's a grade 4 prolapse. That's a grade 4.
Right. That is a complete eversion there of the uterus. It's out. And then I really think we need to talk about support. So there's people that need more support than others, and they might be hypermobile, they might not be hypermobile, but we use support in other areas of our body. When we get up in the morning, we're going to choose the type of breast support that we need for the activities that we're going to do for that day. We're going to choose our foot support. What are we doing? Are we going to be walking a lot, et cetera, et cetera? So thinking about that in terms of the support for your pelvic floor, it's okay to use something inside. Here's another model. So using something inside the vagina to help support those walls. And we have a plethora of options, and this is just one little sack. These are called pessaries or pessary-like devices. And then using something externally also. So sometimes this tissue, we call it perineal descent or an enlarged urogenital hiatus, where this area doesn't have good fascial support. And so literally it can sit lower. If you think about these are your sit bones. This whole area may be sitting lower. And so supporting this tissue can really help to make an impact in your function and reduce symptoms.
Yeah, and you happen to have a product that helps support it, so don't be shy.
I do. I wear multiple hats. So yes, but I'm gonna preface this by saying I've been using perineal compression or external support since 2001. Okay. And that has been how I've managed prolapse for so many years and done so many things. And basically what it's doing is lifting that tissue. I designed a product called the pelvic bra because there wasn't a product out there that I liked that allowed me to wear my own clothes and that was invisible. I didn't want to see lines. I didn't want to see bulky things. And I wanted that pelvic floor, that perineal compression, that lift. So I have a little model here. So this is the front, and then this is the back. Don't worry if you don't like thongs. I would say almost 25% of our people, if not more, they'll send us reviews and they'll say, I'm not a thong person, but I love the support. And so they'll wear their own panties underneath. But basically what this is doing is it's lifting that perineum. And I really think that internal support and external support, so this type of thing or something going inside the vagina, every person with prolapse should explore their options and be aware that there are options. So you try one thing and you don't like it, don't give up. There's so many other options. It's kind of like shoes or socks or other breast bras, we want to support that tissue, and don't give up if you try something and it wasn't your best solution.
Yeah, Yeah, there's no shame. I mean, I think a lot of women feel like, again, we started this conversation, it's like broken, and that's not the case. Like, it's okay to need support. Okay, so physically, if you were to give women, let's say, top three things for managing prolapse that might be re-emerging or emerging, straw that broke the back, right? That
Mm-hmm.
dropping estrogen, what would your three tips be to help get them through and feeling supported?
Right. So this is presuming that we know that they have prolapse and what the grade is and what their tissue's doing. Because I think that that's an important delineation for
You can
anyone
check
that.
in the app. Janice actually did a video where she shows you how to self-check. Going to see a pelvic
Okay.
PT in person
Right.
is 10 out of 10 recommended for
Right.
every female, in my opinion.
Right.
However, in the meantime, she is going to show you in the app how to check yourself in a few different positions.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so it was the top three things for people to manage and live life with prolapse. I think number one is just understanding that there is hope. Like, it's not a death sentence for activity. There's millions of people out there living with prolapse doing wonderful things. So you can get there. You don't have to have surgery, and it doesn't have to be the end of a wonderful sex life. You can have even better sex with prolapse. Man, I'm having a hard time just narrowing it down to three. So finding an exercise program that you really like and that you're consistent with, because these support options are great, but they don't replace exercise.
Right.
We need exercise for our whole body health, our mental health, our physical health, our bone health, everything. So
Yeah.
movement is so important. And so doing whatever you need to do to move. And I love what you're doing with that.
Yeah.
So supporting the tissue, moving, and good sex.
And I always say when you're strong everywhere, you're less likely to bear down. So if you just think about
Right.
the logistics of that, if you're going to pick up that same bag of dog food that we were just talking about, and you've got really strong legs and glutes and arms and a core, it's going to all support you so that you don't feel like you have to hold your breath and bear down. And you're going to have that organic strength to help get you through,
Absolutely.
which is like,
Absolutely. And you learn through through teaching how to breathe and how to do it. So I
yeah.
absolutely agree. And I think one other thing that kind of goes along with that hope piece is the nervous system. So you get this diagnosis and you're like like you're on edge, right? And so that's gonna make even a minor symptom feel worse. So breathing, exhaling, stretching, it's really important to work that into your exercise program. And I know you do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's, we tend to protect, I think, when prolapse is involved. You think
Right.
like,
And
okay,
just clench. Yeah.
yes, hold it in, hold it up, hold it in.
Mhm.
And that's not remedying the prolapse. It's just making your pelvic floor tight on top of
Yeah.
prolapse. But it's
Yeah.
hard not to do it,
Right.
right? You're just like
Mm-hmm.
instinct is to protect.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think I can't just stop giving tips. You're going to have to stop me, Ashley. So
tips.
another one is constipation.
Mhm.
Especially, I'm going to go over just real quick here the anatomy, bladder. So we have a pelvis. She's opening. We're looking at the inside of her organs. This is the bladder, the uterus, and the rectum. The rectum comes down, and here's the vagina. What can happen is that this back vaginal wall can start to drop down into the vagina, and it literally can make like a poop pocket where you have a really hard time emptying. And so doing things to help keep the poop soft, but then also supporting that tissue while you're pooping. So whether it be a finger going inside and pressing back to support that wall, or sometimes pressing on the perineal body from the outside, those are both really good things that help. And if you think about the stress that constipation causes long term, like if you're having that on a regular basis and you're bearing down and you're pushing, that's doing terrible things for your fascia, your pelvic floor fascia, your pelvic floor muscles. And so we're trying to build them up with exercise and movement and breathing and support. And then we go into the bathroom and we're pushing. You're reversing everything that you just did. So you really need to think about reducing constipation, supporting that tissue, and building it up. So it's really about two things. Like you have pressure from above and support from below. So the support from below needs to equal or exceed the pressure from above, or you're going to have descent.
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone.
I think also like circulating, now that perimenopause is like finally becoming somewhat of a topic of conversation, everybody's like protein, 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 protein. You're forgetting fiber. Like that's what I always say.
Give me some lentils, then you have both.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I personally have been, and this is just not, I'm not recommending any diet here, but I have personally been eating a little bit more vegetarian since being in perimenopause because I was like adverse to meat. Like my body was telling me like, okay, let's back it down. And since being more fiber forward, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm going twice a day. I don't want to brag.
Hey!
I don't want to brag here, but things are flowing now. So don't forget.
I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. So doing whatever you need to do and then working with professionals if you aren't able to do that, because it sounds wonderful and you and I are on good regimens, which is good, but I'm sure we have people out there that feel like they're doing all the right things and they're still struggling. So understand that there's professionals out there. And also this, just because you try one pelvic floor PT or one gastroenterologist and it wasn't a successful experience, you didn't get your solution, doesn't mean you give up. If you had a haircut, you went to a hairdresser and you got a bad haircut, are you going to give up on haircuts forever? You know, like, no, there's other out there. So just being persistent, persevere until you find your solutions and your team and your regimen to be consistent for life, because this is for life.
Right. And I think finding the right pelvic floor PT, I'll just say from my own experience, it can change your life. It can change the way that you trust your body again. You'll learn different patterns. I went into pelvic floor PT when I was dealing with really bad diastasis recti, as I think I've shared with you, but and I was like, what? You want me to just sit here and breathe? I was like, do you realize I can back squat like 225 pounds and you're going to have me breathe? Like, I thought this woman was woo-woo, to be honest. And of course, now it's changed my whole life.
Yeah.
And so I feel like every woman should minimally know some of those basics on how to protect her pelvic floor and why it isn't just like a given. I don't understand in our medical system.
It's heartbreaking, really. I mean, I want to capture people early, like postpartum and pre-pregnancy even. And hey, what about teenagers? Because some of them leak and have issues too,
Oh,
right?
yeah, especially athletes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then educate them throughout their lifespan, like, and empower them too, because there are people, maybe not everyone, oh, some people are going to hate that I'm going to say this. Maybe not everyone needs to deliver vaginally. If they're super high risk for prolapse and they have all these risk factors and they have this enlarged urogenitis and multiple things, maybe they need to consider, or maybe it might be at least at a bare minimum, a nice discussion with their birth provider. Hey, you're high risk for X, Y, and Z. Here are your options.
Yeah. Gosh, I'd never heard that. Okay.
There might be some people that disagree in your comments, but we can
there might
we
be.
can respectfully dialogue.
Yeah, for sure. So how does pelvic floor PT coordinate with the Menovation workouts, and do you need both? So we ask you on onboarding, do you understand pelvic floor connection? A lot of people are coming over from Strong Like a Mother, my other app, and they do understand it. But there is a ton of pelvic floor guidance. A number of the coaches are trained, and there's also a lot of pelvic floor PTs, including Jeanice in there, who are talking about what you can do. Now, that said, in my opinion, nothing replaces going to see a pelvic floor PT in person. It just doesn't. So if you can swing it, I always say, even if you could just go to like 2 sessions, go have somebody look at you and your body in person. I can't do that over an app. So if you can swing it, do that. But of course, Menovation has a huge pelvic floor focus. Of course, I'm going to support you along the way.
Yeah. I love that you're supporting pelvic floor PT and that you're recognizing that there are millions of people that don't have access to it.
Right. Right. And it can be hard. And like you said, a lot of people don't even know. So that's where,
And
like,
there's
even
whole
if
countries. There's whole countries
yes,
without pelvic floor PTs. So
yeah, yeah, it is a hard thing, and the number of people in rural areas, etc. So it's
right.
challenging. Okay, well, I think that's it. Unless anybody has other questions, you know where to find Jeanice. Make sure you follow her. I sometimes not a humorous situation. Lots of props with Barbies. And,
No,
and
we
different
can
things
talk
to get
about
you make
Barbie.
an appearance.
Yes, I love it. I thank you for the opportunity to be involved with this and to help reach more people, because everyone here, I would challenge you, like, share this with at least one person that's had a baby that may be approaching their 40s or 50s or even 80s, because yesterday I saw a person, she was 81 and it was a new onset of prolapse. She
Yeah,
probably had some before that, but the symptoms, the bulge wasn't coming out, and now it is. And you never know the impact that you'll have on someone else. And you personally sharing a resource from one of the professionals, and especially Ashley, means so much more than us trying to reach them.
yeah.
You are going to be able to reach them, so you can impact other people positively. So I challenge at least one share.
Thank you for that. I love that. And it is important to take the stigma away from it, right? I always find when I'm in like the grocery line, people are like, what do you do for a living? I was like, well, let me tell you, like a lot of pelvic health and fitness, and the people inevitably, the woman at Trader Joe's is like, oh my God, I just peed myself when I was lifting this juice box case up onto the shelf. Like they feel open to share. And so then you feel less alone. So not only are you helping to educate people to say, hey, there is help. You didn't know there was help, but there is. This isn't normal. You don't have to live with it. But also, you don't feel like this freak, right? You feel
Right,
like,
it's
oh,
not so isolating. It's not so
yeah,
isolating, because like research is showing how many people with prolapse, how much it affects their activity level and how much it affects their sexual function. But it really doesn't have to. We can do amazing things even with prolapse. I want to say this too, like there is a space, there are surgeons out here for this, right? Urogynecologists, urologists, and that's a great solution for a lot of people. But I would suggest that you, and strongly advise that you do at least 6 months of conservative intervention first before you take that surgical step. Because even if you do decide to have surgery, you want to know how to breathe. You want to know that your glutes are strong and that you're lifting well and that your arms are strong to support all the things that you're going to need to do post-surgically. So,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a team.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you all this time. I appreciate your friendship and your expertise.
I really still want to meet you in real life one day,
I
so
know.
we'll make
Make
that
it
happen
happen.
sometime. Oh
Yeah.
wait, and we both have sons named Miles, which I love.
Oh, yeah, I love that too. And they're so sweet. My Miles is
Yes,
so sweet. And she's like, her Miles is sweet too. So there you go.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
But he's now like 6'1", so
Yeah. I know. My oldest
enjoy
is
it.
6'1". It's like, well, how? How?
Yeah. Well, good to see you, and we'll
Thanks
talk to
again.
you later.
Bye.
Bye.